Hi everyone, massive altcoin Bible. The markets are moving. I think the Ethereum dam wall is about to break to the upside. So hopefully we see a 2000 plus Ethereum coming up. You can guess that is today. That is my cherry ripe. I've got some other cryptos I'm going to look at today. Also just going to have a quick look at Bitcoin as well and kind of give you the lowdown of why things are moving. But really sensational looking market structure now. Bears just haven't been able to stick in the knife. Go to the charts and have a look. But they haven't been able to push things downward. And if the bears are exhausted, even when we have negative news, eventually this is what happens. This is what happens out of bear markets. So if we just see down here, we've been, trapped in this area down below 20,000 for quite some time. We've had the blitz out of it at the beginning of the year, come up 20,000, gotten above it, and now we're starting to ride and look really, really good for a move up above 30,000. We're going to run into 30,000 potentially, soon, and we're going to see what kind of resistance there. I think it will be fairly strong. We more likely won't crack it first time through, but still, the market structure is just looking that each time we've gone lower, bulls have just bought things up, and we just see the trends, just those higher lows. So low, high, low, things are just moving up in the trend, and it looks like it wants higher. There's just the sellers just aren't there to push this down, and well, that may not be entirely true. We're in a very interesting part of the market where we've got low liquidity. The order books on exchanges are very thin. Bitcoin's just leaving exchanges. There's not a lot of circulating supply. And again, if there's not a lot of sellers there, even a constant buying demand by spot, especially with everything happening in the macro, if there's just constant small buyers and larger buyers starting to get interested in coming in at these levels, it will just push things higher. And we're looking at derivatives this morning as well. Things still look, quite neutral. There's no indication that market participants that are using derivatives, so futures, are betting that this is, going to go higher. There's a lot of people still betting that this is going lower, even out, and that creates disbelief. There's no rocket fuel there for us to have a gigantic, flush to the downside, or even a, massive move to the upside, unless we get a huge amount of buyers coming in. That's a little bit more advanced, but it's just some high-level stuff that I'm looking at the moment. Now, some key points. We had some less favorable economic data coming out of the US in terms of the labor markets, also manufacturing. So this puts the recession firmly back on agenda. Thought for a long while those people talking about a soft landing and recessions may not happen was just hopium. It's gonna rear its ugly head again, and it looks like it is. It's showing, this data at least is showing that the US economy is slowing down, and these high interest rates are helping towards that aim. And eventually this causes the Fed to pause and pivot. I think we're there already because they did break the banks last month. So we're going to see where things end up this time. We've got the inflation data on the 12th of April. That is going to be a pretty wild one. I suspect what's going on right now is the markets are pricing in the Fed is going to pause. So this price action here is all about the 12th of April, in my opinion. So we're going to see how high Bitcoin goes, how high gold goes. That was the other point too. Gold has ripped higher through to new highs. So the $2,000 US level has been taken out. We're a little bit above it now, but 2,000 is such a huge level for gold. Gold is that safe haven asset which investors like to flee to going into times of economic turmoil or uncertainty. Bitcoin has that flight to safety trade, often known as Bitcoin 2.0. So I fully expect Bitcoin to get a pretty strong bid here coming soon. Keep that in mind. Just quickly on Bitcoin, also a fairly nice looking divergence there. So we've got the RSI actually getting a little bit deeper while price is just rising. So sellers are getting absorbed by buyers, and it's just starting to rip. Stock RSI, it looks to have completely cooled off. MACD looks to want to cross over again. So a lot of things putting this in favor of the bulls for at least a go at 30,000, just above. Why am I telling you about Bitcoin? Well, it's the lowest risk, safest asset in this space, and it drives everything. Bitcoin's moving higher, liquidity's coming in, and then it will go down to lower caps. So large caps, mid caps, and low caps. We have a look here. Ethereum, this is the cherry ripe. This is the one to watch for me. Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin through every crypto cycle, essentially, that we've seen previously. And there's no indication that's going to change. Ethereum's market cap's much lower. It's got a different use case. It's got a lot of different going for it. However, we're just looking at a pure performance basis. Ethereum is beginning to move. And look, Ethereum can be boring for very long periods of time until it really wants to move. Now, Ethereum was stuck in this oscillating, choppy range below, let's say 1,700 for quite some time, similar to Bitcoin, but just it didn't really have much strength about it. It's finally broken free of that. never made that second low with FTX, and I'll harp on that all the time. That just tells me that it has had a tremendous relative strength in buyers at the lows. So it never made that second low with FTX like Bitcoin did, which is great. It's just been making these higher lows. You can see here, high, low, high, low, higher, low, high, 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 high. It's continuing, and it has broken this. I've been watching this level religiously for a break. 1720. I wanted to see a break, come back, retest as support. It's done that, and now it's flying. I expect this to act like a magnet, the $2,000 level for Ethereum. So this was your point. This was your point to buy back in an Ethereum in this region, the retest of key horizontal resistance flip support on top of this, volume here. So that's where you want to see. And again, I think I've had Ethereum for Cherry Ripe one to watch for almost all my videos lately. So if you're not watching them, you really are missing out on this kind of information. But now is the time to really reap the benefits of those kind of positioning. 2,000, 2,300, and why 2,300? Well, it's essentially the next sort of floor over here. You can see there's wicks wicking into the 23, 24, 2,300 area, and also some volume support over here in about 23, that area. So it's running into those wicks. You could maybe throw a dime at 2,400, 2,300 where it will stop. But generally, as an investor, you do want to front run the major levels a little bit, because traders will front run it as well, and it just keeps creeping forward from those key levels. Everyone's looking at it. But Ethereum looks really primed here for a big move, and it's key to how it reacts at 2,000. It's not the end of the world if it gets beaten back. In fact, I expect it probably will get beaten back a little bit, but it's going to breach 2,000 once it's out of this structure. This is a clear break. It looks very, very good. RSI looks fantastic. If you're looking to, buy into Ethereum, or where I would be looking to get into Ethereum, is probably wait for the reaction at 2,000. I personally bought the breakout at 1850, 1860. I really liked that there. Waited for the close this morning on the daily. Went in, had a really nice stop loss, well, a reasonably tight stop loss in an area where I think if it passes that point, I think it's probably chopping around here a bit more, so I don't want to be in it. But you can play the breakout like that. You can wait for confirmation. It gives you a bit more confidence instead of just market buying and then hoping for the best. That could be a good way to go about it. But yeah, we're just seeing that run now, and it looks reasonably good. Once it gets above 2,000, it's really anyone's guess how high. And you can go in the short term, but generally Ethereum has these bursts where it creates those runs, just flies, and it all depends again on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is in a good state, it's running towards 30k. Even if it gets above 30k and starts to go sideways, that is the optimum state for altcoins and Ethereum. But you can see here, Ethereum really pops. When it runs, it pops, and then when it wants to quieten down, it can be boring for quite a while. So yeah, Ethereum is absolutely my cherry ripe. Expect ERC20 tokens, so tokens that are built on Ethereum to move now that Ethereum's making its move as well. Okay, my one to watch this week is Shiba Inu. Everyone loves Shiba, right? Most people do. Look, there's this sort of investment thesis around Dogecoin and Shiba that you kind of expect must come out with something of left field. Dogecoin always tends to have, in previous spike cycles anyway, massive spikes, then big drawdowns back to the start of the spike. What did I do there? Back to the start of the spike. I think I reloaded it. And just it repeats cycle after cycle. Now, Shiba Inu is kind of like a proxy onto Dogecoin. If Dogecoin starts moving, Shiba generally does, and the other dog coins do. Dog coins are almost in their own unique little meme bubble, so they tend to move at the same time. If we're looking at Shiba, it's creating a really nice structure here. It's created that high over here, had a bit of a pullback back to the 0.618. Nice retracements here. I know what I did. I went to the AUD chart instead of the USD, but very, very similar. It's come back down, retested that almost that 0.786 almost to the nose, but around here it's just chopping about, got back above the 0.618, so that's Fibonacci level, reclaimed some key moving averages here, including the 100, and now it's just under the 50. You breach that 50, I think she's off, and she's going to blitz through some of these levels quite quickly. Dogecoin's up, I think, 30%. In my eyes, Shiba Inu is really lagging here. So this is my one to watch. Look, RSI just trending up, looking nice, getting above that 50 mark, that mean zone. Stock RSI looking pretty powerful up here. It doesn't have too much more room to go, but I expect a bit of a pop in the short term. So look, rising tide lifts all ships. Bitcoin and Ethereum are running, then Shiba will as well, but still one to watch. Look, it was very, very difficult to actually come to a lot of these crypto truths just to three today. And Shiba amongst many a basket of others just look really interesting and enticing for an investor or trader at these points. The hardest thing actually this week was, and normally it's the flip side, was actually finding crypto that looks not okay. And even this one, I still don't think it looks terrible. But this is Arbitrum. This is the new token. And if you've seen these episodes, I like to sort of pair it up with a narrative or a fundamental issue as well, if I can. Arbitrum is an airdrop token. The central authority behind Arbitrum essentially rug pulled the community to an extent, gave them a vote, wanting to spend some of the tokens or the allocation in the treasury. They went ahead and spent it anyway, and the vote went against them. So they had to come out and go, sorry guys, this vote was kind of meaningless. We already went ahead and did something that we're asking your opinion on. So that had this big drop from up here 1.44 all the way back down. They've made some changes. They've come out and just spoken to the community and whatnot. Regardless, this was a really nice pump from that low, almost like an exhaustion point where the sellers just got out. It's had a 15% run here. There's still a bit of a cloud hanging over Arbitrum, so there's that. There's also this here that we've got Arbitrum running back into a really key, and there's not much price action here. It only goes back literally 23rd of March, so there's only a few weeks of price data. But here, this is a massive zone of volume. So this is an area where Arbitrum needs to crack above to go higher, but it's also going to act as resistance here. So this is starting to form and I'm just looking at this here, almost like a left shoulder there, a head there, and starting to form a right shoulder there, which is actually a bearish pattern, and it could drop lower. So I'd just be careful here that it's running into resistance after a headwind, maybe that relief bounce, could be a dead cat bounce from the low. Just be careful. Also, stock RSI is about to cross over, so I expect this to cool off a little bit, perhaps creating that right shoulder, potentially before it moves up. But this area here is going to be key. What happens in here, head and shoulders generally break down, and whether this is technically a head and shoulders, I'm not sure, but that's generally how the pattern works. Kind of rolls like that, figures itself out. And if it wants to go high, it goes high. If it goes down, it goes down. But it's still, fairly used layer 2. It's got the most TVL, so total value locked away in the layer 2 space. So look, I don't know if it's going to go anywhere in the short term, and it might be a good risk reward play. So guys, that's my danger zone this week. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, gave you a little bit of extra information across the board there. So again, hope you found it valuable and you use the information accordingly. So have a great day. We'll catch you again for our next video. Bye.